Hi everyone and welcome to Founder Stories. Today I'm sitting down with Emily Petway, who is the founder and president of GivenKind. GivenKind is a Chicago-based nonprofit organization dedicated to reimagining giving to maximize the impact of a charitable gift for both donors and nonprofits. Emily is an active leader in the nonprofit community and most recently founded and managed the Atlanta chapter of Beggar's Closet, a part of a nationwide nonprofit that provides girls in need with formal wear for special events. And she has set out to make purposeful giving possible. So thank you for doing this. We've been trying to shoot this for a very long time, but yeah.
Thank you so much for being so patient and persistent, and I'm grateful. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes, of course. So before we dive into the amazing work that you are doing at GivenKind, there are some things that people are most curious about nonprofits, and I'm going to ask you two of those things.
Sure.
One is what kind of a person builds a nonprofit, right? Is it a trigger? Is it an idea? Is it an inspiration? Like what goes in your mind when you think, okay, let me do this?
Sure, I think it's a great question, and I think that there are so many different answers, that there's not one situation. There's different things that pop up that speak to different people in different ways. So I do think that through my work with GivenKind, I've visited many organizations and gotten a chance to meet their leaders and learn their stories and see their operation up and running. I'm noticing something that is a common thread that's strung throughout all of those, and that it is a person who sees a need, is determined to fill it, but it's not just a one-time fulfillment of, oh, I've done this deed and now I feel it's full, that it's that need to make change. And someone who starts a nonprofit has that as not just part of something that they want to do, but it's part of their belief system, and that's what carries them through what can be a very difficult process and long process. So someone I see as a nonprofit leader who follows through and continues and has that sustainability is someone who has a very strong belief about what they're doing, and that thing that they're doing can change our small corner of the world for good.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Another thing, so you said inherent belief, right? And yes, I think that's what makes all the difference, right? And I don't know if a person like me can I be someone?
Absolutely. I think that because of all the different life experiences that each of us have, it looks different for everyone. So there isn't just one formula. I believe that anybody can start a nonprofit. Not everybody should start a nonprofit, because there are so many out there, so many wonderful causes that you can, if you're just looking to contribute, you can contribute successfully without having to start a nonprofit. But anyone could. You just have to have that half heart, half business sense to make it be something that's sustainable for the long run.
Right.
So anybody could.
Yeah,
but you just
it's
have
about
to
the
have
contribution, right? What are you contributing?
Right. And what way do you want to contribute? Do you want to contribute by creating a structure, or do you want to contribute by taking part of something that exists already? Neither one can exist without the other. So you can contribute very meaningfully in both ways.
Yeah. Right. So another thing that's on top of my mind is fundraising, right?
Right.
Yeah. So nonprofits they depend a lot on fundraising, and you don't have goods, you don't have services. So how easy or difficult is it then to get funding for nonprofits per se?
It is incredibly difficult. There isn't a single nonprofit that I've met or that I've worked with or for that has said, we're good, we don't need any more money. It's something that's constantly on someone's mind, is because, nonprofit, you're not creating some kind of good or service that is something that you pay out a dividend at the end to your investors. It has to be very altruistic. You have to really, as a nonprofit manager, sell that belief that you had, that you had started this organization with. It has to be a belief that someone else who's a donor or a volunteer, whoever's going to contribute to your organization financially or with services, has to believe in it and believe that you're the organization that can get the job done. So it's a lot of planning based on that fact. And it's really difficult. And because there isn't that always stream of money coming in, it can seem panicked or a heavy weight on an organization. But I think that there are some, of course there's very creative ways now with social media that you can get their messaging out. We are able to touch further corners of the world that can contribute once they know our stories. But I do think that a part of the sector, and when it comes to fundraising that sometimes gets overlooked, is the in-kind goods or the donation of services that can fill that gap or help supplement the funding that we're all searching for.
I do want to speak to you about, especially, and we'll come to GivenKind later, because the name itself says GivenKind. So we're going to talk about that. But but that's interesting, right? Do you think people are more receptive now than they were like 10, 15 years back to just the whole idea of nonprofits to social impact? And
I don't know, I think that there are...
Or they're less receptive, or it's just the same, like, just your thoughts?
I like the idea, the thought that because we're better connected, we're able to see needs and relate to other people more. So I'd like to believe that it's growing.
Yeah.
There are organizations that have been around for decades that are still leaders that show us that there has been throughout time the desire to give of yourself in order to help others. So I'd like to believe that that's part of our just human nature, and that it continues on. And I just think that there's more opportunities to learn and to get involved and to give now, just because our pool of how we can touch people is now greater. So.
Right. So I want to talk a little bit about GivenKind now, right? What I found most fascinating about GivenKind was that you are creating opportunities, or bringing in donations for other nonprofits. So tell us more about how that works.
Sure. Well, we have created an online web hub where nonprofits can list their wish list needs, because as we mentioned, nonprofits are always in need because they serve their community and then are needing to refill their supply so they can continue to extend the reach. So nonprofits have a huge list of needs. We have a hub where they can post those wishes. At the same time, we have donors like you and me who have things in their house that you're trying to get rid of, but you want to do it with a purpose. So we've given a space for donors to post items that they're looking to get rid of. So the two groups can search each other's sites. Nonprofits can take a look at what's available, and donors can see what the needs are, and search each other's lists, connect through our site, and facilitate that community of giving.
Yeah, so that's interesting. It works the other way around. The nonprofits are listing all the things that they need, and the donors can actually see that and then donate. It's usually the other way around, that you're giving out whatever you have. So that's why you're actually fulfilling a need that they have, right?
We want to make sure that nonprofits are receiving the items that they need, and it doesn't just become a dumping ground for stuff that's unwanted. I believe that things are just misplaced. They're not necessarily unwanted.
Yeah.
It may not be useful in your house anymore, but that could be the very thing that a nonprofit really needs to carry out their mission in the community. So these are material goods that they're looking for.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. And so who helps you? Like, are you a one-person team?
No,
or?
we have a board of directors, and we have amazing volunteers locally that help manage those relationships with nonprofits. And we also have a whole team of nationwide programmers, developers, who continue, because websites are never finished. So they contribute their services to building our web.
And these are volunteers who are contributing their time?
Volunteers. Our organization is 100% volunteer.
Yeah.
So again, they have tons of faith that the community is just an amazing place to be, and that people are willing to give up their time, because it's coming back to that belief, because they believe in the cause, and that they can contribute their time and effort to grow an organization that will impact others.
I wanted to ask you, why the name GivenKind?
Sure.
Not like, it kind of like is, we've kind of answered that, in kind, the donations are also in kind, even the volunteers are donating their time in kind. But yeah, so how did you come up with GivenKind?
Well, I wanted to make sure that the focus was on the material goods, because there are amazing platforms where if you're looking to donate your time and your talents, that you can go other places for that. But we're the hub, we want to be the hub for people to give their items, so that it would have a new life. And that's an in-kind donation. And within the industry, appealing to our nonprofit base, that's a very recognized term of in-kind donations. And the give being the action of of giving that material good.
Yeah, and do you see how many nonprofits do you have on board who
Right.
give out for donations like this?
Well, we've started just in April, so we're not even a year launched yet. So we have a dozen of corporate or nonprofit partners that are registered and then have used our site.
And this is in Illinois.
We're starting in the Chicagoland area because that's where our home base is,
Yeah.
and I really love, as I alluded to in our introduction, that I go to the locations and meet the leaders of these organizations and watch them in action. So I like making that connection first because really, relating to that business sense, that this is an early adoption phase for us. So this is a beta, and we're wanting to make sure we onboard people and let them see the scope and contribute to improving it too as we grow.
Right, yeah. So, and what, another thing which I'm very curious about is why did you start this? Your trigger, your inspiration. I know you've been always passionate about, you had Becca's Closet, and I guess not many people watching this would know what that is also about. So,
Sure.
What was your inspiration?
Well, I love volunteering, and I love volunteer. I have lots of different interests. As most people, you've got different interests that vary. And I felt the same way about volunteering at different organizations. So I've always been fascinated about why people give and who they give to and what those operations do. And when I found myself with Becca's Closet, which is that nationwide organization that gives out formal wear to girls in need so they can attend prom and homecoming and military balls, like free of charge, or at least for the dress, I found that's really where it started, the GivenKind idea started for me. And we were very lucky with Becca's Closet, again, another all volunteer, all in-kind and service donation organization where we had grown over the years, starting with a box of dresses to an inventory of 3,000 dresses, scores of student volunteers. We'd even been given a 1,200 square foot house, like a house in a downtown area, so it was
a space. Oh, okay.
So it was like and I say house, but it was really converted into like a commercial space. But this area that was donated to us, we were there again free of charge, but the stipulation was we needed to keep up the yard. So I needed a lawnmower. So of course with a dress bank you think, you need dresses, you need hangers. These things were pretty obvious you would need for a dress bank. Not so much a lawnmower. So we were finding it hard to find a lawnmower donation. And I had been on a site, I love Free Cycle. It's a great idea of, again, that giving a misplaced item to somebody else who can then use it.
I like how you use misplaced, yes.
I don't want to say unwanted because the lawnmower was very wanted by us. So I had made a post, and at the time I was teaching school, so I was a public school teacher, and I had gone back to teach a class. And in the meantime, a lawnmower had been posted. And it was first come, first serve, and someone else had taken it, and it was to keep up his lake house. So it was an extra lawnmower. And here it was that we needed this to continue our operations. We wanted to keep the space. We didn't want to be kicked out for lack of yard maintenance. We needed that to continue doing the work we were doing, and that was that impetus for we need to create something that's an online web platform that's exclusively used for nonprofits, so they're the ones who are benefiting, and to have donors be able to give purposefully. So that was the start.